Let us just wait for our other fellow participants to join in. I know your day was quite tiring because you guys are learning since the morning, but do not worry. This is something is very essential and a very interesting panel discussion that we have planned for you. So just keep on joining and we'll start soon. All right, while you guys are joining, I'll just set up the context why we are here, what's the panel discussion is all about. So, with great joy and excitement, I would like to extend a heartfelt and a warm welcome to each and everyone who has graced with us with their presence today. We are thrilled to witness the rapid increase in the number of participants, making this colloquium an even more enriching experience. Today, we are honored to have a panel of distinguished personalities whose brilliance knows no bounds, gathered here to share their invaluable insights on the theme of financial aid and scholarship, understanding your options and maximizing your opportunities. Without a further ado, it's my utmost pleasure to introduce these exceptional individuals to you all. Our first panelist with us is Mr. Vinod Reddy. Mr. Vinod Reddy has earned a postgraduate diploma in management from Watson University in 2019. A versatile business development professional, highly effective in conducting interactive sessions with academicians, industry experts, and students, and has loved to identify opportunities for strategic partnerships and managing existing alliances to help drive new customer acquisitions, market penetrations, and brand visibility. He is currently working as a deputy general manager involved in end-to-end planning, execution, and analysis of the on-ground campaigns for Watson Universities, which is in Hyderabad. Thank you so much, Mr. Vinod, for joining us today.
Thank you, Aishwarya, and good evening, everyone.
Our next panelist with us is Mr. Shyam Kumar. Mr. Shyam Kumar is Associate Director, Outreach, Admissions and Career Services at Vidyashilp University, Bangalore. He holds a postgraduate degree in HR from IITM, New Delhi, and undergrad degree in History, Economics, Political Science from St. Joseph College of Arts and Sciences, Bangalore. He has over 17 years of experience in the areas of recruitment, campus placement, training, key account management, and admissions. He has worked in the domain of HR and helped major corporations like City Sapient, KPMG, Deloitte, TCS, HSBC, and many more corporate houses with their recruitments. Thank you so much, Mr. Sham, for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Aishwarya, and good evening to everyone.
All right. Next panelist with us is Ms. Namra Amrohi. Ms. Namra Amrohi is an accomplished international admissions advisor specializing in South Asia at Huron University. With a rich and diverse background, Namra brings a unique perspective to the field of international education, having experienced the journey herself as an international student in Canada. Her wealth of knowledge about life in Canada and her personal experience as a former student at Huron University makes her a captivating speaker who can connect with the audience on multiple levels. Thank you so much, Namra, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Our last panelist with us is Mr. Vikas Bajaj. Mr. Vikas Bajaj is the student recruitment manager at SRM University. He's also an experienced administrator with demonstrated history of working with the education management industry for 15 years. He has skills in coaching, strategic planning, marketing strategy, and team building. And he has a strong business development professional with a Master's of Business Administration focused on HRM from University of Worcester. He started his career as an academic counselor in the education space. Then he moved on to work in the industry with KPMG and Kotak Mahindra for some time. He has handled key positions and working as a head admissions and administrator for GD Goenka Public School, Kapurthala, Punjab, and 2 higher education institutions before joining SRM University. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today.
Thank you, Aishwarya, for the lovely introduction. Thank you, everyone.
Last but not the least, our moderator for today. Our moderator, Abhishek, is a management graduate from University College London with successful summer credentials at London School of Economics and HEC Paris. He's a dedicated mentor when it comes to guiding students to Ivy and G5 institutes. Thank you so much, Abhishek, and the stage is all yours.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ishwara. That's wonderful. Good evening, everyone. I know you've had a great, enriching day of learning. All of us will try and make sure we make this even better and end on a high note. Now, just to elaborate on the context Ishwara started with, I think all 5 of us, I'm speaking on everyone's behalf and they'll agree. This is a very important topic that we are discussing because we are in that time of the year. And before you join, we're just discussing internally as well that scholarships, financial aid are such important conversations in every household. because getting into university is just one small part. How do you fund it? How do you make sure it's a great experience without adding too much pressure to parents, and the family supporting kids is equally important. And if students are able to get the right amount of scholarship, that makes the journey not only a little sweeter, but makes it also a great accomplishment for kids as well. So just to get into the conversation and kick starting, so everyone here I know doesn't come from an academic background, and just to allow a parallel playing field for everyone, I just would request our panelists to start with just give a quick context in terms of what really scholarships mean in terms of getting into universities, and how this is a very important factor in a student's journey. Mr. Vinod, would you like to start?
Yes, Abhishek. First of all, thank you so much for having me here. Complete Mindler team, as well as Abhishek and also Mr. Hiten, and students and all the dignitaries who are here. Just a quick intro about Woxin for 10-20 seconds. So Woxin University, it is in Hyderabad, India. It's a 200-acre campus. And we have started as a business school in 2014. And in 2016, we have launched design and architecture program. And in 2020 is where we have got the university status. So we are the youngest university who has got this university status within just 6 years span of time, a B school turning into a university. So now we have 7 schools under university roof after the university status. Those are School of Business, School of Design, School of Technology, School of Law and Arts and Humanities, School of Sciences, School of Liberal Arts and Humanities. So, and School of Architecture, of course. So these are the 7 schools under Woxin. So I don't want to take much time now. I just want to give you a recent update about Woxin. We have got a recent ranking day before yesterday. It's a QS World University Rankings, and we are ranked number 3 amongst the all India rank 3 in the globe. If you see, we are ranking 151 plus university having this fantastic MBA Financial Services and MBA General and MBA Business Analytics program. So we are ranking number 3 and ranking number 17 and ranking number 2 with respect to all India and all Asia. So when it comes to scholarships, yes, Woxin University now, we have very simple process with respect to scholarships. So
Mr. Vinod, we'll come to Woxin's scholarship later. I want to just, because you are an educator as well, I want to just highlight for now what scholarships exactly are, because a lot of people are not too sure how do they run. Just a generic overview, and we'll come to the university.
Okay, so I tell from the Woxin University perspective about scholarships. So we give these scholarships to the meritorious students based on their merit with respect to the entrance exam scores that they have or that they write. If it's an MSET, for example, if it's a BTech, so they need to submit their entrance exam with respect to MSET, APR MSET, Telangana MSET, RVAT Triple JEE Mains. And with respect to architecture, we have JEE Mains paper 2. So there are the different state level entrance exams that will be going on for different programs that we cater. So based on the scores that they get in all these entrance exams, so they need to produce that entrance exam score, which is one criteria to give a scholarship to the student. And the second criteria with respect to Woxin is a psychometric test, which we conduct at Woxin University, which is online. And why we are keeping this psychometric test is because a lot of companies you see when they're coming to hire our students for internships or for the placements, they're looking for the student psychometric test results also. So when before taking them into their companies, they're checking the student psychometric analysis and all. So that's the reason Woxin also will be having the same aim and notion whether the student's mindset is matching Woxin University's vision, values, goals or not. So that's why we are keeping the psychometric test, which is having the equal percentage score. And the third criteria that we are maintaining is a personal interview. So all the 3 rounds need to be cleared by the students. Once they clear these 3 rounds, the composite score of these 3 rounds will give a final result of the score. So that score will give the scholarship. And with respect to how much scholarship we are giving and what metrics we are following to give that scholarship will be informed once the Abhishek goes on after the panelists.
No, thank you so much, Mr. Vinod, and thank you for setting that context as well. Mr. Sham, before I come to you, I really like how Sir elaborated. So I think let's continue with the same trajectory, and you can share your perspective, how your university runs around scholarships as well.
Okay, so before running into my university, what are the kind of scholarship what we offer? So if I have to term scholarship, if I have to explain most of the crowd who are here, there is a term in corporate which is called as R&R, reward and recognition. So a student who is typically looking at an undergraduate program spends typically around 17 to 18 years in the field of education. They would have achieved a lot in the field of education or extracurricular activities, sports, cultural activities, in a lot of other domains. So for them to be recognized, the universities come up with a concept called a scholarship. So we would like to reward them, or most of the universities would like to reward those students who have excelled in the field for the 17 years cumulatively. For them, we would collectively give them something called a scholarship. So that is how I term scholarship has, uh, which would which would encourage students to study well or pursue their higher education in a better manner. So that is the simple way I would put across what scholarship is. We have a different form of different levels of scholarship, and we have various methods of evaluating scholarship. Probably that I would come into later part of the discussion.
No, perfect. Thank you so much, sir, for elaborating on that as well. And that gives a very good segue for Miss Namra, because you're one of the representatives from International University. Can you please elaborate on what Mr. Sham said, and also give a very clear distinction between financial aid and scholarship, because students and parents often get confused about it?
Absolutely. So I can take that on. Roughly, the way we describe scholarships are four different types. The first is the merit-based scholarship. Second is financial aid. Third are named or team or named based scholarship. And lastly, we also have government-funded scholarships. So the way the differences work around is the merit-based scholarships is the one that you see are most common. That's the one that most universities are offering. And by merit, we simply mean your academic standing in your grades. So that's the one that most students opt for. So based on your results, you get into a university and you're offered a certain scholarship. The second one, financial aid, is actually on a need basis, which means, let's say you're looking at the tuition amount overall and you're looking at the scholarship you've received. And there's still discrepancy where you're concerned of affordability across 4 years. Some institutions might have the funding to offer financial aid, which is on a need basis. So if you're, let's say, accepted into Huron, for us, we offer need-based scholarships up to 50%. So it differs from university to university, where you can actually fill out a form. They'll ask you for all your financial information, your standing as a family, your financial status, whether you have dependents or who the primary bread earner is, and all those factors are taken into consideration to offer need-based scholarship. And these scholarship again run for across your duration of the program. So it doesn't mean that you only get it for one year or 2 years. It goes for across 4 years, but you just have to make sure that you are maintaining your certain grade status. The third one, which is name or a theme or named based scholarship, these are upper year scholarships. So with almost most universities, let's say if you're doing really well in academics, if you're doing really well in sports, there are certain categories. So let's say there are alumni who graduated from a university, they fund these named scholarships. So if an alumni was a brilliant in sports, they were selected in the varsity football team and they want to commemorate that kind of an achievement, they'll name a scholarship on their own name for a student who is currently in the varsity sports football team, for example. So those are a thematic or named scholarship that you can look at your upper years. And then lastly, we have government funded scholarship. So if you're looking to travel abroad internationally, there are certain treaties between going abroad where your local state government or your political central government also might have scholarship for you to apply abroad as well. So those are basically the four general categories of scholarships that you can look at.
Great, thank you so much. And I think even I picked up a new term there as well. So thank you so much for elaborating on that. And I would love to ask you more specific questions as we move along. Coming lastly to you, Mr. Vikas, again, you know the question, we'd love to hear your perspective as well.
So Namrita has done my job, half of my job. I mean, she has informed about merit-based scholarship, which is very popular here in India, you know.
Right.
Then there are certain universities who are doing this philanthropic work who are also offering need-based scholarships, right? But there are very few universities which follow the lead. And of course, SRM is not one of them. We do offer merit-based scholarship based on, you know, class 12th result and your entrance exam or any entrance exam you have appeared for, which can have CLAT, JEE, and all these exams. Apart from these, in Indian context, there are two more scholarships which I would like to highlight here, right? And those are, one is the sports, scholarship. So we of course, I mean, sitting at Haryana, case for sports activity, a lot of activities have come up. We do offer sports-based scholarship, which can go up to 100% waiver in the tuition fee for a candidate. So this is another scholarship which is very favorite. And being a state private university, there are a lot of universities who are offering domicile scholarship. So these are primarily for the students of that particular state. That government has made a proposition that we have to give certain scholarship. And in our case, it is 25% of the scholarship for the domiciles of Haryana. So this is something which really students are not aware about. And this is something wherein they can apply and they have a different league or different area where they have this opportunity or advantage of getting more scholarship as compared to a normal student.
Yeah. Great. I think that's a brilliant insight for me as well. And I'm sure everybody's taking notes. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your universities and a little broader space as well, because scholarships are very interesting and a tricky term. So the question that I have for all of you now is, what role do you think academic performance, extracurriculars, co-curriculars, community involvement play in scholarship and financial aid decisions, primarily from your school? And if you would like to add more insights, you can do that. Mr. Sham, would love for you to go first this time.
Thanks, Abhishek. So if we are looking at the scholarships which we offer in our university, we have something called as an enabling scholarship, encouragement scholarship, merit, academic performance, sports, uh, for scholarship for a single mom, scholarship for defense background people. So the scholarships varies from 25%, it can go up to 100%. And also, if we look at our admission cycle, we start typically by end of October and we close our deadlines by April 22nd. So by the time, if I look at it, most of the students are still in the phase of writing their final examination, awaiting results, and students would not be in a position to. We would not be in a position to decide only based on their 12th grade marks. So what we have essentially done is, instead of looking at a 12th grade or an entrance marks, well, we have around 2.5 crores of scholarship, which is to be given to the students. So we look at their 10th and 11th grade marks, and we evaluate on that marks along with their statement of purpose and the personal interview. Then we offer them scholarship anything from 25 to 50% in the beginning. Once after the results are announced, they can, if they have a good results and they have a better scores, or if they have achieved a better level of achievements in any of the field, they can upgrade the scholarship up to 100%. So there is a guaranteed scholarship which starts from around 25% to 50%, but then post their results, they can upgrade it. So this gives an edge or an advantage for the students, stating that, okay, I am confirmed with an admission for my efforts which I put till 10th or 11th. Because students would think, okay, I have, how would I, how would I, how would somebody evaluate only based on a JE score or a SAT score or a 12th grade? So what about my efforts of the previous year? So we have made a point to note that, okay, we will try to consider your previous scores and we will look at your previous aspects. And that is how we have typically arranged our scholarships. And we have roughly around 2.5 crores of scholarship, which is offered to the students in total. And for students who are coming through MSH, we have around 20 scholarships, which we are offering.
Right. Again, thank you so much, sir. For those of you, just to repeat it to you, MSH stands for Mindless Scholarship Fund. I think you've already gotten to hear about that in ICCC. So thank you for bringing that up as well, sir. Ms. Namra, coming to you, you very well categorize 4 scholarships for me, but I want you to focus on the entire profile-based scholarship so people understand how they can leverage that.
Absolutely. So for all the different types of scholarships, the way it works is that your grades actually make up for, at least here on or internationally, 1/3 of your profile. So 1/3 of your profile, we're looking at your grades. So regardless of any institution, the first filter would be your grades to determine if you're eligible for a scholarship or not. The other third that we focus on is your extracurricular activities and your profile. So depending on the institution, for us here on, we focus at looking at different variety of extracurriculars. So when students come to us, we're not looking at how many certificates have they piled up in the last 2 years. We're actually looking for meaningful, impactful extracurriculars that they've done. So a really good example to share is how also students put forward their extracurricular activities, whether they say, I was the captain of a basketball team, or whether they mention what they did as a captain of a basketball team, what achievements did they have, how did they make an impact, whether to themselves or whether to people around them. So we're actually looking for better communication from students when it comes to their essays, and that really makes a huge impact. And which is why we always encourage students to take up extracurriculars, which doesn't necessarily have to be in the field of their interest. It could be anything outside of it as well, just enough so that they're showing that they're passionate about it and are able to communicate. Which brings me to the last bit, which is the personal interview as well. So for our biggest scholarships, we always have interviews where we first shortlist students based on their written profiles, and then students are selected for interview. And then it's very clear when we're sitting across students whether the student has actually done it out of passion and is really someone who wants to give back to the community, or whether they've just done it for the sake of doing it and checking off a box saying that I've done my extracurriculars. So those are broadly like the three categories we're looking for. And then financial aid is the only one that is quite different, which does not require for you to have excellent academics or excellent extracurriculars. If you make it past the institution and are admitted in our university, then you can apply for financial aid if you think there is a need for you to be able to access your education for 4 years. So the very word aid means you have to have the need for it to be able to get it for across 4 years. So that's only when we're not looking at academics and extracurriculars. The minute you enter the university or at least have an offer of admission, you can apply for upper year aids as well. But for scholarships, it's very clear for us. We're looking at grades, we're looking at extracurriculars, we're looking at interview. And even for bigger scholarships, letter of recommendations play a huge role, because for students to actually enter or apply for scholarship, we're looking for schools to nominate those students for the bigger scholarships as well.
Perfect. I think that's very comprehensive, and I'm glad you touched upon the areas as well. And I would certainly come back to all of you later for application process. Coming to you, Mr. Vinod, if you can elaborate on how these things play a role in a student scholarship journey.
Yeah, so that was a very nice question. Curriculum as well as sports as well as the surroundings play a very vital role in terms of getting the scholarship for the students. So it's not about just getting a scholarship, it's about how you mold yourself to get that scholarship. So for that, you need to understand the concepts rather than by heart something and read and write and get the marks out of it. So Woxen University, we only have two kinds of scholarship where we see the academic scores, of course, but only up to 60% is what we check the percentage with respect to 10th and 12th boards and UG boards if they're joining in different programs. But what we consider to join any student to Woxen is there any national level entrance exam score. So what they have written in that exam, and of course psychometric test, which I mentioned earlier. And also we have two kinds of scholarship which we given on based on merit, and the second is based on sports. So sports plays a very vital role with respect to Woxen. That's why our classroom session is only from 9 to 3, and 3 to 7 is where we have the sports. And our sports lounges is open till midnight 2 a.m. at Woxen campus. By the way, it's a residential campus. There is no day scholar. So sports is where the lot of leadership qualities is being built. So that's the reason the merit-based scholarship will be offered. On top of that, the sports-based scholarship also will be given as an extra scholarship to the student. So that is how we work with respect to the scholarship. And what we see with respect to giving the scholarship is the understanding of the concepts by the students. So when the student is being interviewed, so how well he is being answered for the questions? Is he confident enough to answer the questions or not? And how well is understanding the concepts in the 10th, 11th, 12th, and UG boards. So the majority of the things that we see is understanding capacity of that student. And second, easy into different sports and cultural activities in earlier academics and all. So that's what we see majorly. And this plays really very, very vital role with respect to Woxen. And financial aid, is mentioned by Ms. Namra. So that comes as a second later part. Once they get selected into Woxen University, we have a tie-up of the third-party vendors where they connect these students who got selected. And if they wanted to get connected to different banks to get loans without having any collaterals up to 7.5 lakhs as per the government policy, government education policy, they can get it. So we have that kind of connections as well with respect to this financial aid at Woxen University.
No, I'm very interested in that part because I think when parents and students go out to get loans, it's very, very difficult. They don't know how to navigate this. So I'm definitely going to come back. I'm so glad you raised that point, Mr. Vinod. Mr. Vikas, passing on the same question to you.
Right. So, Abhishek, I mean, SRM, we are very traditional university, right? When it comes to our mother campus, we know, I mean, it's been for long now, right? And that blood stream, also flows to us. So we only majorly consider students for merit-based scholarships. So most, favorite scholarship among students is the merit-based scholarship. But as Mr. Sham has rightly mentioned, I mean, you cannot judge a student based on some particular score for a particular subject. So for that, to tackle that problem, what we have done at our university, we give students a lot of opportunities and chances, right? So we have a chancellor based scholarship. So based on out of your 12 score, you can get up to 100% scholarship if a student has scored more than 95%. Then certainly there are kind of students who are not very good with academics, but then when it comes to preparatory exams, they focus on that area and really score very good percentile or percentage or scores. So we give multiple opportunities to a student starting from his 12th score. Then we have our SRM JEEE examination, which is being conducted by our mother campus from Chennai. Based out of that, even student can gain some scholarship. We also give scholarship based on JEE. This is, I'm specifically talking for engineering. And then we have our own entrance examination, which is SRM HCAT. Now, the beauty for entrance examination is based on that. I mean, student can also appear for 2 times in that examination. So twice the opportunity is given to the student. So curriculum is the main agenda or focus area for SRM, and we focus on that. And based on that, we give multiple opportunities to the student to gain that merit-based, scholarship. Then comes the sports and the, other scholarships as well.
Fair enough. Thank you so much, sir. And that helps a lot in a big way. The next question is because you've very well elaborated, all of you, how the scholarships work. I'm very sure everybody will be curious about the process. So 2 questions that I'm clubbing together. One is if you can elaborate, I know you touched upon a little, the timeline and the exact process. So everyone can go to the websites, understand. So just if you can elaborate on the process, Miss Namra, can you please go first?
Absolutely. So just to talk generally in a Canadian landscape, so our admissions start 1 year in advance because you have a lot of processes to go through. So if a student is entering in September 2024, which is the general month of the intake, your applications have started in September 2023. So right now is the peak admission time for Canada. And then when you're applying, you have certain universities that might have an early admission deadline. So for Huron, that is November 15th, which means basically if you apply before the deadline, your chances of getting in are higher, which much more scholarships because you're few of the interested students who are applying much early on. And then post that, you have additional deadlines for extra scholarships. So the way it works with Huron specifically is that most universities will have an automatic entrance scholarship. So the minute you're applying based on your grades, you'll have an offer letter that says whether you got in or not and with the amount of scholarship you're receiving. And then post that, you can apply for bigger scholarships once you've been accepted in the university. So our biggest one is the presidential scholarship, which takes away 50% of the tuition for across 4 years. And then financial aid as well, that takes away 50% of the tuition for across 4 years. And then I also saw a question about how much do students need to keep up to maintain the scholarship. So most Canadian universities with merit-based scholarship, you'll have to maintain about an 80% for across 4 years to continue getting this scholarship. And for financial aid, we ask students to maintain about a 60% to continue it for across 4 years. So the way it works is students apply first. If they get in, they're able to apply for much bigger scholarships and upgrade their scholarships as well. And then they start with their admission process and then continue onwards with the study permit and study visa applications that the universities also assist them with to arrive in time in September 2024.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I think most of the students who are applying and working with us as well have started applications well in time, and I can vouch for it. Starting early helps not only to get in, but increase your chances. And it's a very simple and fair game, right? That shows you sincere as well. Same question for you, Mr. Sham.
Am I audible now? Okay. So if I'm looking at scholarships at our university, specifically, you have merit. Yes, of course, we do look at scores, and there are students who don't get scholarship in the first year. To encourage them, what we have done, they can apply for scholarship in the second year if they are not getting scholarship in the first year. So they have a provision of applying for scholarship in the second year. They have to maintain the similar grade of what with which the number had informed. They have to maintain 80% attendance with 8 CGPA as a score to get in the fresh scholarship. Or normally when we offer scholarship for the student in the first year, all the scholarships are for first year. And in order to continue, they have to maintain the simple thing as 8 CGPA and 80% attendance in order to continue the scholarship for the 4 years. It is a similar pattern of what Namra has been done. So she's cleared most of my answer there.
Okay, fair, perfect. So thank you so much. Mr. Vikas, would you like to go next?
Oh, absolutely. So we have certainly many deadlines for our application here at SRM, right? So we have already have a one deadline, which would be December 20th, right? So we'll be closing first round of application for the admission for the 2024 session. Having said that, we always advise and encourage students to apply early, right? So being a private university, though we offer 100% scholarship for across all our programs, but then those 100% scholarship are limited in numbers, right? For computer science engineering, let us suppose, for example, I have 240 seats. Now, two things are there. I mean, if I'm offering 100% scholarship to a student, that would be, let's say, 10% of the above hierarchy. So that those would be only 24. Right. So we encourage students to apply early for the scholarship because, again, the nature of the scholarship is first come, first serve basis. Right. We cannot wait up till the end of the admission cycle. So there are many, programs at a university which we really close the admission immediately after the 12th board results. So this is one part that we always say students, whichever the program they are interested in, they can just deposit a certain amount as a token fees, and then they'll be eligible on all the pieces like the 12th score or maybe SRM HCAT ranks score basis. So we encourage students to go ahead early and apply early, and this I believe holds true for all of the universities here.
Fair enough, perfect. Mr. Vinod.
Yeah. We catered more than 3 crores for the scholarship this year, and last year we catered approximately 2 crores, and last before year it was 1.5 crores. So year on year we are getting more number of scholarships will be given to the students as we are getting more number of students to work in. That is one. And second, we have two different programs. One is PG programs and the other one is UG program. With respect to PG program is concerned, our application started last month and it goes on till March. But as Mr. Vikas was telling, so there is always a better role when you are applying the first, or you get a better chance to get the better scholarship as well when you are applying for the first time. So for the first comers, where we call it as a scholars round, and the scholars round will continue till this month 28th, which will be closing tomorrow for the PG admissions. And we have a early bird scholars round, which will be closing next month 24th. So that will be for the additional scholarship you will be getting as top of the scholarship that you get anyways as a regular scholarship. So with respect to PG programs is concerned, we are closing our applications in the month of March. We started last month. And with respect to UG programs is concerned, we are going to start starting from this month, and we already started our applications, and it goes on till July and August. So the scholars round is going on now for UG program. So you'll be getting additional 50,000 flat as a additional scholarship on top of the regular scholarship. And third point I would like to mention here is students just maintain, if any students are here or any dignitaries. So students need to maintain just 60% in their academics with respect to 10th, 12th or UG is good enough to apply to Oxen. So once you apply to Oxen, what we see is your performance with respect to this national level entrance exam score. If you don't have a better score there, or if you feel, sir, 80% is not enough, 70% is not enough, can I get better scholarship if I write any additional entrance exam? Yes, you can take any other second entrance exam and you can apply for a better scholarship. Or else, Voxen aptitude test is what we are conducting for the students. So if students are not getting better grades with respect to national level entrance exams or better scores, then they can always take Voxen entrance exam as a last option. So best of two we consider, and whichever is having the highest score, we take that score to give the better scholarship, followed by the psychometric test and personal interview. So there is always a room for improvement. That's why we are giving this second option as a Voxen entrance test. So students can always opt this option to get the better scholarship at Voxen.
Fair. I want to summarize one particular part that which I gathered from all four of you, that a lot of times, and I've seen kids get very disheartened that I don't get an entry level scholarship, but doesn't mean that's end of the road for you. And you can always earn scholarship in future years. Also, there's not only one single pathway. So I don't think you can give up very easily. And one personal advice I will already like to give in adherence to what everyone has very kindly mentioned is always try and reach out to universities and double check with them. Sometimes we don't have things written, we are not too sure, and we avoid them. One simple email can go a long way. It can actually do wonders for you. I want to ask a specific question. Now, this question is for Ms. Namra, because you are a representative of a Canadian university. What advice would you give to Indian students who are looking to fund their education through a combination of maybe scholarships, grants, part-time work? How do you ask them to go through the journey?
Absolutely. So there are multiple opportunities students can take up. Definitely, Canada is open place for students to work, which is why it's one of the most favorite destinations. So Canada allows students to work part-time during school year, which is about 20 hours per week, and full-time during summer. So summer breaks are 4 months long, which means students can do full-time internships as any regular Canadian would do, and you can work up to 40 hours per week. Now, just to translate this into numbers, if a student is working for the 8 months of university part-time, they can earn up to $10,000 Canadian. And then if you're doing a summer internship, you can earn anywhere between $20,000 to $30,000 in the 4 months. But that's based on the kind of internship that you're getting in which industry you're working as well. Just the kind of general advice we tell students is that when you're doing a combination of scholarship, like let's say for Huron, we give you maximum 50% as scholarship, you can still try to save up quite a bit to fund your education. But the majority of the support will still have to come from the family members as well, because as a student, you're primarily goal in the country is to study, of course, and then your part-time and your full-time roles can actually help cover your general expenses. So let's say your rent, your food bills, your groceries. So as a Huron alum, I did the same thing where I worked during my part-times during school year and full-times during summer across various internships, because Huron offered guaranteed paid internships to students across all programs. So as a business student in my second year, I tried her hand in a bank. I did a banking internship. In my third year, I did an internship with a nonprofit. In my fourth year, I did an internship on campus in the recruitment department. So it just goes to show that you have a lot of various opportunities and 4 years to figure out where you want to work as well. But your primary goal should also be to study. And then post that, you can look at working beyond and staying back in the country and working for full time as well. And another thing that Huron also does that I think Mr. Vinod touched upon is that we also connect students with banks and right individuals to get the right information. So, for example, Huron has partnered up with the ICICI Bank, where we give a non-collateral loan up to 1 crore as well. So we want to make sure students are not breaking their backs trying to get an international education or a degree. So if they need scholarships, support, funding, as well as loans, like we're able to connect them. And as you mentioned, Abhishek, it really is just one email or one phone call away. Please reach out to the universities directly, because unfortunately there are a lot of people in this kind of a space which kind of give you misvalid information or misinterpret quite a few things, and there's a lot of misinterpretation that goes around that could be very harmful while you're making decisions. So always reach out to the representatives. We're more than happy to chat with you, whether it's one-on-one, whether we're in the country and want to meet, we can always make space for you as well.
I'm so glad you raised that point, because we all as educators hate misinformation. That's a big problem. Now, for all three of you, I have a reverse question, because we have a lot of audience who are also from a few other countries and students applying from abroad as well. Do you have particular suggestions for international kids applying to Indian universities for each of your schools? Or is there any particular difference in process or scholarships? Mr. Vinod, would you like to start and share?
Yeah. With respect to scholarship, the process remains same for both global students as well as domestic students. With respect to Oxford University, they just need to clear our entrance exam, psychometric test, followed by personal interview. And scholarship also remains same, and we give minimum 15% as a scholarship on tuition fees, and maximum goes to 50%. So 15 to 50% is the scholarship that we offer on tuition fees. And that it is not yearly basis, it is on the total tuition fees that we cater for the students.
Perfect. That was very on point, and Chris. Thank you, Mr. Vinod. Mr. Sham, same question.
Okay, so if you look at our university, not only with respect to scholarship, but with respect to the fees also, there is no differentiation. most of the universities, we know when there is an NRI student or when there is a foreign student coming, there is a differentiation in fees. So what we believe is the entire globe has one particular society where everybody is a global citizen. So we have made sure that all the criteria which are there for our Indian students are the same criteria which are there for NRI or the foreign nationals. So the scholarship remains same irrespective of which country or whichever place he or she is coming from.
Which is
That's
wonderful.
the simple process. What
No,
we
I'm glad to hear that. This makes it so streamlined, so brilliant there, Mr. Vikas.
Yeah, in terms of international student, I mean, so earlier we used to have a different fee structure, right? And very recently this year, we understand, I mean, again, India has become an education hub and a lot of students eyeing upon coming to India for their studies. But most of the concern of these international students is the fee part of it. So they are somehow looking at some financial aid or scholarship from the Indian universities. So turning out the strategy this year, what we have planned that most of the nations like GCC or SAARC and African countries, we have reduced the fee structure to as of the domestic. So we parallelly match that one. And second, as I mentioned, for a domestic student, if a student scores more than 95%, we offer 100% as a tuition fee waiver. Similarly, structure we have kept it for the international students as well. So once they fill in the application, they share all the documents with us, and depending on their score or based out of their country scores and all, we evaluate that and we map it with Indian context, right? And we have started to offer these students up to 100% scholarship as well from this year onwards.
Fair enough. I think that makes it very simple and inclusive process for everyone. So that's wonderful. I know all of you have covered and given your time pretty much everything. Any final word of advice you have for students to keep in mind? How do you navigate scholarships? Ms. Namra brought up misinformation. Any particular last words you have on this regard? Would love to hear. Mr. Vinod, why don't you start?
Yeah. So I just want to give answer to the one student who was asking about the stipend. So with respect to Mr. Vikas, what he told. So Woxen University also having a lot of international students who are already studying at Woxen now. So we connected with 100 plus international universities till date. To be precise, it's 116 international universities tied up with Woxen for student exchange program, curriculum and research exchange, and faculty exchange programs. So we have already this exchange program with respect to these international universities. So our students will be going there and study there for 3 to 6 months, and their students will come here and they study at Woxen for 3 to 6 months. So the student exchange program anyways is happening at Woxen, apart from the regular admissions which we are getting from other parts other than India. And when it comes to the question of some student asked me, is there any stipend? So there could be no stipend with respect to PG program is concerned, but PhD, yes, there is a stipend. But even if you are joining as a UG student or a PG student, trust me, you don't get that time to work on extra things like job and all. You'll be much more occupied with your project works and all. So that is the reason our campus is open till midnight 2 a.m. So we recently did a test run to make our campus 24/7 enabled. Unfortunately, it went well. Unfortunately, it didn't went well. So that's the reason we take a pause to make it to 24/7. Right now, our campus is enabled till midnight 2 a.m. And with respect to scholarship is concerned, guys, you don't need to worry about scholarship if you are very much familiar with your concepts with your 10th, 12th boards or UG boards. So just get clear understanding about what you are studying and get crack into different universities, whichever you like.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Vinod. Really appreciate that. And I hope this 24/7 thing works out. It's brilliant. So I all the luck for that. Mr. Sham?
just to set an analogy with respect to scholarship. So if I have to buy a new car, I would go to a priced showroom who would sell a company car. I would not go to any other place to buy a car. So if anybody wants to apply for a scholarship, reach out to the universities directly. Don't believe in or the small individuals or agents who would say, "I would get you scholarships. I would uh, get a seat into the university." There are a lot of people. I know we are a country with 1.4 billion people. There are always different ways of earning, and different people try to a lot of things. But reach out to the universities directly. That is the best way to understand what kind of scholarships are universities offering. What somebody in the Q&A round asked me, do you really offer or different scholarship, and what percentage of scholarship do you offer for different different person? Yes, few of the universities do offer. It was an information for a particular individual. So for any information which with respect to scholarships or admissions or anything, reach directly to the universities with respect to admission. Do not depend upon on individual or agents. That is my only suggestion for everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. That's all I can say. I'm very happy you raised that again. Miss Namra?
Absolutely. So I would just emphasize what Mr. Shyam just said, like reach out to us directly. And then, as somebody who's been through this journey of being an international student, I always also ask students to take it a step further and reach out to current students as well, because that's where you'll get the most authentic perspective about a university, about the entire process as well. So, for example, at Huron, if you just go to our website, you can chat with current students from across different programs, get to understand their perspective too. So if you have the opportunity, definitely not only just connect with the university, but also try to connect with their staff, with their students, with all of the resources that they provide, because we are here to help and support all the students that are looking to get more information as well.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Vikas, you have the last word.
Yes, so definitely I reckon my thoughts second to Mr. Sham, what he's been saying. Of course, I mean, we are all different universities. We have different programs, different fee structure, different thought process, and different scholarships as well. So what my advice to students is, we have a website made for these guys, which is a window wherein they can look inside the university, whatever we are offering. Also have a tab wherein we show these are offering. So again, I mean, all the universities agree on this part that we all have different kind of scholarship offerings, and we have a different viewpoint of looking at a candidate as well, right? So one candidate, if I'm interviewing, I might look from a different perspective of Mr. Vinod might look for, right? So again, apply for maximum scholarship. There's no harm in that. And the more you apply, the more chances, and the more you apply and the early you apply, you have more chances of bagging on these scholarships. So my advice is, go to the website of these universities, start applying without hesitating, without wasting your time.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I just want to add one simple point, because this is something I always keep saying this. One, except reaching out directly, that will be my first advice to representatives. All of them are very kind to reply and prompt. University websites is a great resource. Mr. Sham already gave a brilliant analogy. One particular platform I think I can count on for this is LinkedIn, to connect with current students and what is happening, to get a better understanding. Because I always see students getting scholarships very proudly present that it's an academic achievement or an achievement after all, right? So you can reach out and to people who have been there, done that. That's also a very good way. And also, most of them are going to be credible if somebody is mentioning that from the university. Another simple point. But thank you so much for listening in, and I really hope you got a lot of insights. Everyone here, you can connect with them on LinkedIn, reach out to them on emails. They have been kind to share their numbers as well, so make sure you reach out to them with the questions after doing your research as well. Kangan, thank you so much. I'm passing it back to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you from behalf of Mindler to all our experts present over here, and Abhishek, who has moderated this session, and to the audience available. In, you guys have already highlighted very means on the topic of scholarships and financial aid, how you can maximize and optimize from it. I think our audience have gathered a lot of important information and they can utilize it for the future purpose. Thank you everyone for joining for this panel discussion.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, team, for having us out here. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you
Thank you,
so much.
everyone.
Pleasure
Have a
meeting.
great evening, everyone. Take care.